What happens in the next 10 to 15 minutes of class? We were talking about the first 5 minutes, and how, what is our interaction with our students? What about the next 10 to 15 minutes? Most teachers tend to tackle scales, and this is a very controversial subject, I know, but I don't agree with scales. I'm going to try to explain to you, as best I can, my reasons. First of all, there are two types of students: the ones that study to become a musician, so professionally, and the ones that do it out of pleasure. So they're not really pursuing amazing progress. That doesn't mean we are not searching for a progress, don't get me wrong. It's just that we are not pursuing virtuosity and amazing technique, competitions and so on, concerts and so on. For the first category, for the ones that are trying to become musicians, scales are more than welcomed. Because, again, they build technique, they help with virtuosity, they help with stamina on the keyboard. It helps a lot. It's a very good exercise. And I completely agree with it. However, not at an early age. At an early age, first grade, second grade, a child should fall in love with the piano and should learn the basis of musical theory, not tackle scales on the keyboard. I'm not saying a musical theory teacher should not speak about a little bit about scales. I'm not saying that, although I still feel like it's too soon. But playing them, instead of actually doing something that might pique their interest and help them love the piano more and be more attached to this instrument, I feel like it's not smart, period. Again, that's debatable, it's very controversial, a lot of my colleagues will not agree with me, and you do you, I do me, we are each entitled to have an opinion. When it comes to the second part of students that I was talking about, so the ones that do it for pleasure, it's just not justified. This exercise is not justified. If you have a class that lasts 50 minutes or 60, the first 5 you say hi, you talk a little bit, the next 10 to 15 you do this, 20 minutes are already lost. Out of 50 you remain with 30, or out of 60 you remain with 40. Still not enough. When you could use those 10 to 15 minutes to listen to their homework, see if everything is okay, and see if you can actually help them, maybe even correct if something is wrong. And then just move on to what you have to do, what's new, what you have to tackle this class. I strongly disagree with having this warm-up every single class. If we are talking about students that do it professionally, again, I get it, but at the same time, they could do it at home before they come and visit you if you're studying extra privately. If you're doing it at school, of course, you don't really have another choice. If you're doing it, if your student is one that's studying out of pleasure, without pursuing performance, then he or she doesn't really have a song that requires such skills. Their song is not that difficult, so their hand muscles should not hurt them that much. A little bit of discomfort, like, don't get me wrong, a little bit of discomfort, it's normal, because our hands were not created to be walking like our feet and on a key that's like this wide, obviously it's not going to be comfortable. It doesn't matter if you're studying for pleasure or to become a musician. It's not going to be comfortable, and your hand is going to complain. Your muscles are going to complain. Obviously, they're going to send signals to your brain that I'm not okay, my back is hurting, my muscle is hurting. It's normal. But the songs are not that difficult in order to actually affect your hand on a medical basis for you to need that warm-up. Because why do we tackle the warm-up? First of all, because we don't want to have problems with our muscles. We don't want to have problems with our ligaments and so on. We don't want to end up in the hospital. That's why we do the scales. It's a warm-up at the beginning of each class. Students that study for pleasure do not need it. They don't need it. It's as simple as that. They just do not need it. So, my opinion, personally, is just my opinion, again. I would not lose, not my time, their time, and their parents' money on 10 to 15 minutes that don't really do much for them. Again, it's very important to categorize, to organize the students, the teachers, every single thing that we are searching for in a collaboration. And when you know what you're searching for, when you know what you want, you understand what you need from that class. Because each and everyone's needs are different. You might have a student that studies out of pleasure, and 5 years in or 4 years in, he or she decides, oh no, you know what? I would like some virtuosity. I would like to push it a little bit this year. Let's see what we can do. Sure, let's do scales. Let's tackle something classical. But other than that, I really don't see the need. Why would you lose the time? Now, I'm not talking again about teachers that work in professional music colleges, like Enescu, Lipati from Eastern Europe, from Romania, from my home country. I'm not talking about those teachers. They are supposed to do scales with your child. I'm talking about the teachers like me who study with kids that study out of pleasure, for pleasure, in private. Why are you losing your time doing that? Why are you losing time from the class? Like, why? And another very interesting subject is related to this one is the way kids react to scales. We'll talk about that in another video. But as a small idea up front, you lose them. Because if you start with a draconic exercise like this one, they're already done, already fed up with you. Before you even started feeding their brain the information that you wanted to feed their brain that day. So I think that before we decide on an exercise or decide to take a certain path in a certain course, classroom, we should think about it from a psychological point as well. How is that child going to react to what I'm trying to convey to him or her? Will I have a good outcome? Or will I lose my student? And losing your student is not the problem. The child losing interest in the instrument is the problem. That's what we don't want. Because we are not the most important in the room. The child is.